So I'm here today with Ecotricity founder Dale Vince, and I wondered if you could just briefly describe, Dale, the kind of aims of Ecotricity.
Well, we're primarily a green energy company, and when we got started, our aim was to change the way energy was made and used in Britain. Probably about 10 years ago, we extended our boundaries to include the worlds of transport and food, because energy, transport and food, between them are 80% of all carbon emissions. And so I would say broadly we're about sustainability, and we're about bringing answers to those three big areas: energy, transport and food.
There are really plausible and usable solutions for electricity generation, but heating, which is an enormous cost in terms of CO2 in this country, that's a big challenge. So can you give us a brief idea of what the green gas plan is?
Definitely. Like you, I felt for many years that we just had to give gas up. We had the answer for green electricity, but gas we had to one day give up. And that was until about 2010 when we discovered that green gas existed or could be made and then could be scrubbed up and put in the grid. That's very recent, like about 2 years ago, and that led us to this really. The basic process at the heart of this is anaerobic digestion, which has been around for a long time. And basically things break down with bacteria in the absence of oxygen. That's what anaerobic digestion is. And so you can take organic matter and you can make gas from it. And the new technology is something that can scrub that gas up and make it grid quality. So we can put that in the grid in the same way we do with our green electricity from a windmill. When we began to look at how we could make green gas in Britain, there are kind of two main ways to do it. One was to use energy crops, purpose-grown stuff, and the other was to use food waste. And they both have their kind of problems. So we spent a couple of years looking at a different approach, and we've come up with grass.
Literally what you catch when you mow your lawn, it's that stuff?
Absolutely. Wow. So we've undertaken a study using DEFRA statistics for the land in Britain, and there's enough marginal grassland for us to make all of the gas we need to heat all of the homes in Britain.
So you're not talking necessarily like the grass verge on a motorway, you're talking about
fields.
The fields,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. Grass verges and lawns and stuff, they're too small and uneconomic to harvest the grass rod, but fields. And there's a lot of marginal land in Britain that's it's either having grass grown to feed animals, of course we don't want to be doing that, to feed humans, or it's just not being used at all. One of the great, there are many, but one of the great byproducts of this process is we create habitat for wildlife in the process of growing the grass. The land itself goes organic, and this is a project of about 5 megawatts. It would power about 5,000 homes per year with gas, and harness about, interestingly, 5,000 acres around it. So it's about an acre per home to grow enough grass to make gas to power your home. And that 5,000 acres goes organic, becomes a wildlife haven. All of the fertilizers we need for that 5,000 acres comes from this green gas mill as a byproduct.
Right, because once you've got effectively the gas out of the material is then sort of composted grass. So the whole thing is a cycle in that sense, in that local area though.
The key is to have the land around the project. And then it just becomes, it's just farming traffic, just moving grass down the road in tractors and trailers.
Yeah. So this first project then is outside Southampton, is Sparsholt College. Are you working with the college on this project?
Yeah, we've got a site on their site, and we just gained planning permission about 2 weeks ago, I think, which is quite fantastic. The idea is to use the project at the college to teach people how it works, to kind of train the next generation or the new generation of green gas engineers. And we're building a faculty alongside it with the college in order to train people in the arts of renewable energy, including green gas, but also wind and sun and that kind of stuff.
So can you do a quick, very brief discussion of how it works then? So I mean the grass, because I'm just trying to work out from this model, which I love the model, but these big bays here, is that where it first arrives? Is that where you first load everything in?
That's right. This is where the grass arrives. These are the stills, and these dark green things are covers. You can see the cover is half pulled back here. So the grass is turned into silage, like for cow feed on a normal farm. And when it's ready, it goes into these first set of domes here, where it's processed, starting with the little ones onto the big ones, and these 3 big domes here collect the gas. Wow. So it's as simple as that, from grass through these domes, and there's the gas, gets scrubbed up into an underground gas pipe.
Clearly this is doing one area in the south of England. I mean, but do you envisage a time when these could be rolled out across the country?
Yeah, our plan shows that we need 5,000 of these to provide all of the gas for all of the homes in Britain.
What is the gas that you produce? Is it methane?
Methane.
It is methane, right.
In many ways, this is like an industrial cow or a 21st century cow, if you think about it, because we feed it with grass. The grass turns to methane. The only difference is we capture it all. None leaks out either end, and we put it in the gas grid and use it. And we don't have the waste inefficiency of a cow's body to feed either.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of modern cow. And everything that comes out the back end of this goes back on the field a bit like a cow.
In terms of cost per sort of cubic metre of gas that you produce, do you think it's going to be markedly more or roughly the same as...
It's more expensive to start with, which is why we need support. But the current proposed level of support is fine.
Right.
We just need grass to be allowed as a feedstock, as opposed to animal waste or food waste, which we think grass is much better.
I wish you and Ecotricity well with it, because it does seem like a brilliant idea, and it's such a great answer to that, because that's been a long-term question. It's all right with your solar panels and your lights, what about the gas heating? And this is an extraordinary solution to that.
I agree, and at this point in time, it's also the perfect answer to fracking. Which 70% of the public are against.
Yes.
The government are intent on forcing over the heads of people, really on the premise that we've got to get our gas from somewhere. Right. So this is the answer. We're saying
so also for local communities that are opposed to fracking, if they could say to the local officials, we don't want fracking, we want one of these.
That's right.
Then you're looking at, it's a very different argument.
Up until now, those local communities have embraced solar.
Right.
Those that have, but it's not the same thing. It's electricity or gas. So we are beginning this week to drop planning applications for green gas mills into every place where there's a planning application for a fracking mill, in order to start that debate.
Yeah.